Do you want to be rich? Is the sun hot? But how will you ever reach this goal that seems so far away and so impossible? I have an idea. You can work hard your whole life at a good career and retire old with a small family and a nice house. If that idea also makes you sick to your stomach, then this is the video for you, because people like you and me aren't going to end up happy. We're going to end up rich. Let me introduce you to my third favorite word: investing. Investing. Investing is just a way for you to make money while doing nothing. Now, the world of investing is pretty confusing. But come sit on my lap for the next few minutes and let me get your feet wet. So, what do you do when you actually earn money? When you get your paycheck from your job or birthday money from your grandma? I don't know. I probably just. Wrong! What you should be doing is something called budgeting. Budgeting is simply just a method of organizing your income. Now, there's a lot of thoughts about what the optimal budgeting strategy is, but really you'll need to figure out what but really you'll need to figure out what but really you'll need to figure out what works best for you. A typical strategy splits your paycheck into percentages. 50% of your paycheck goes towards your needs like rent, groceries, and a Twitter premium subscription. 30% of your paycheck goes towards your wants like eating out, buying new clothes, and going to concerts. The last 20% is the important bit. Pay very close attention. It's for saving and investing. This is the part that really matters. I'll explain what to actually do with this last 20% in later steps, but all you need to focus on for step 1 is setting aside a certain amount or percentage of money for investing each time you earn some. This 50-30-20 rule is just one kind of budgeting, and the fun part is tweaking these numbers to make the most sense for you. Doesn't that sound like fun? For example, I'm a third-year university student living at home with a part-time job as a lifeguard. I'm particularly lucky since my parents are able to pay for my tuition. Thank God. In my situation, my only expenses are wants, meaning I currently don't have any essential expenses. For my personal budget, I keep my bank account at around $200, and everything I earn over that I invest. Everyone's lifestyle is different, so I encourage everyone to figure out a budget that works for them. As long as you cover the 3 categories of needs, wants, and investments, you're good to go. My personal tip is to try to go as heavy as you can on the investments category, especially if you're young, since the sooner you invest, the faster you become wealthy. If that means sacrificing a couple nights eating out with your friends, so be it. But definitely don't sacrifice your Twitter premium subscription. So, now that you're staring at your investment pile, it's time to actually do something with it. Unless you just want to leave it sitting there. If you've never invested before and you try to pick what to invest in, I bet most of you would say, I'll pick a good company like Apple, Nvidia, or Microsoft. Okay, let's say you go ahead and do that. You put all your money into Apple. The next day you wake up, sip on your morning coffee while reading the news, and you come across a news story. Uh-oh, that's a great way to lose half your life savings. Now, if you're keen, you may have heard of something before called the S&P 500. What a silly phrase. But don't laugh at it. If you're not interested about learning what this is, then all you need to do is go onto Google, type in S&P 500 index fund ticker, and pick one that looks nice. SPY? Wait, that sounds a little scary. VFV? That sounds pretty cool. Now, you could go into further nuance to pick one of these by looking at things like whether or not you want to give your money to Vanguard or BlackRock. 2 very solid choices, I know. Or by the MER, Management Expense Ratio, which is exactly what it sounds like. But these big S&P 500 funds typically all have similar ones anyway, so the only difference would be a few dollars over a couple decades. Great! Now that we've picked what to invest in, it's time to determine how much of it you want to invest into it. The answer is everything. Yes, everything. I know how that sounds, but it's not like putting your eggs in one basket. It's putting your eggs in 500 baskets, because the S&P 500 is just a collection of the top best performing US companies' stock. the top 500 to be exact. You know, historically, if you've invested in the S&P 500 and didn't sell during any big crises, you would have actually never lost any money. Instead, you would average around a 10% return on your money each year. So don't tell me investing is risky, because it's not. I'll go into more detail on all this on a later video, but basically, I'm telling you to invest everything in an index fund. Once you end up learning and interpreting more about the general investing ecosystem, capital markets if you will, you can experiment with some other fun places to put your money, but not yet. Don't put the cart before the horse there. The third step is consistency. You know when you're awake at 1 a.m. and you get hit with a wave of motivation to start working out and start taking control of your life? Well, when you wake up the next morning, where does all of that go? See, when it comes to investing, it's the same as the gym. You can have all the motivation you want to start and go consistently, but as soon as the motivation runs out, you start slacking and not doing as much as you should. See, you don't need motivation for investing, you need dedication. Even when you don't feel like going to the gym or sacrificing X amount of your paycheck to your investments, you still gotta do it. When the motivation wells are dry, you need to tap into your wet, never-ending supply of dedication to get it done. So from here on out, stay consistent with your investing forever, and you'll see where it takes you. Alright, now you're setting some money aside from each paycheck into your investment pile, and you're investing it into an index fund, which is averaging you around a 10% return per year, and you're pretty consistent with it. Now, what's the fourth step? Well, the fourth step is just to keep your fingers off of it. Your disgusting, grimy fingers. I've tried to teach this to all my friends, but it's hard for the average person to look at a big pile of their own money and not want to reach into it. For example, after begging my friend to set up a tax-free savings account, he finally listened to me and invested his life savings, $1,000 in an index fund. How did I convince him? The $50 sign-up bonus. Things went really well for a while. One beautiful summer day, he wanted to get a motorcycle. The wind in his hair, a smile on his face. What a wonderful dream. There was only one problem. He had nothing in his wants account. But wait! He has a ton of money just sitting around in his investment account. He pulled out of his investment account and bought a brand new motorcycle from Facebook Marketplace. Good for him, making the most of his youth by buying things he enjoys. He crashed it and he nearly died. This left him with nothing but $200 in his investment account and several serious injuries. Similar tragedies will happen to you too if you ever pull out of your investment account. It's not a lost cause if you're like him though, because A, you're still alive, and B, it's never too late to really buckle down and start getting serious about your investing. So everybody out there who has a few dollars tucked under your mattress, turn that money into your friend, your life partner. Let it grow with you and don't touch it. It doesn't like to be touched. If you do this, instead of leaving all your money sitting around and being all willy-nilly with it, you're gonna turn into a monster of wealth. Just you wait. That's my promise to you. So thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and remember the main takeaway of this video. Motorcycles are really dangerous.